Hey everyone, and welcome back to Becoming Ultimate Masters. You know how we do things here. You give us the sources, and we give you the deep dive into all the important stuff. And today we're diving into some really big ideas about finding your purpose, especially for any young adults and high schoolers out there. The ones who are starting to think about this big question of purpose in life.
Yeah, it's a question that people have been thinking about for centuries. And today we're going to explore it through the lens of Carl Jung. He was really important in psychology.
Exactly. And we're going to do that using this YouTube video called Carl Jung, How Your Dark Side Can Reveal Your Life's Purpose. It starts with this really interesting quote by Jung. He said, "As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light of meaning in the darkness of mere being." I mean, wow, right?
Deep stuff. It really makes you think that finding a purpose isn't about achieving things or fitting in. It's about something much deeper inside yourself.
Okay, I'm listening. So where do we even begin with his inner journey? The video talks about something called the shadow. It says that it's the key to unlocking our purpose. That sounds kind of scary to me.
I know it sounds intimidating, but the shadow is just a term Jung used to describe the hidden parts of ourselves. It's the thoughts, feelings, and impulses that we try to repress or deny. They could be things we see as negative or just unacceptable, like maybe anger, envy, or even laziness.
So is it like that voice you hear that tells you to hit snooze instead of getting up to work out in the morning? Or maybe like when you feel jealous because your friend aced a test that you struggled with?
Yeah, exactly. We all have a shadow side. It's just a natural part of being human. And Jung believed that understanding and integrating your shadow is super important to living a meaningful life. But to do that, we need to understand the framework he used to describe the psyche.
Okay, let's break down that framework then. What did he even mean by the psyche?
Well, for Jung, the psyche was everything about the human mind, both conscious and unconscious. He saw it as having all these different parts, like the ego, the personal conscious and unconscious, and the collective unconscious.
Whoa, slow down. A lot of talk about the unconscious there. Could you explain that a bit more?
Sure. Think of it this way. Your ego is the part of you that you identify with, your sense of self. Then you have the personal conscious, which is everything you're aware of right now, your thoughts, feelings, and perceptions.
Okay, I think I'm following you. So then what about the unconscious parts?
Well, the personal unconscious is kind of like a storage room for all the memories, thoughts, and emotions that you're not thinking about right now. But they can still affect how you behave. That's where those shadow elements live, the things we've pushed down or haven't really dealt with.
So basically the shadow is part of this personal unconscious world.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. But why is it so important to know this shadow self? How does that help us find our purpose?
That's where things get really interesting. Jung believed that the shadow has all this energy. And if you don't acknowledge it, it can really mess up your efforts to live authentically and to find meaning.
So it's like some untapped resource that we need to figure out how to use.
Exactly. By becoming aware of our shadow, we can start to see the real reasons behind how we act and react. That self-awareness is the first step towards integrating our shadow and using its energy for good.
That's really cool. But how do we actually start to uncover this shadow self? The video mentions shadow work, but I'm not sure what that means.
Shadow work is all about bringing those unconscious things out into the open. It could be journaling or meditating, or even just paying attention to your dreams. It's about asking yourself those hard questions like, why did I react that way? Or what feelings am I trying to avoid?
It sounds like you need to be really honest with yourself.
You do.
But what's the benefit of all this self-reflection? How does it actually help us live a more meaningful life?
Well, the video brings up a big idea that Jung talked about. It's called projection. It's this thing we do where we see the things we don't like about ourselves and other people. For example, you might always judge someone for being lazy.
Yeah, I think we've all done that at some point. But how does judging someone for being lazy have anything to do with my own shadow?
If you're always criticizing someone for being lazy, it might mean you're actually struggling with procrastination or discipline yourself. You're projecting your own shadow onto them.
Now that's interesting. So you're saying that by recognizing when we do this, we can actually understand ourselves and our shadow better.
Exactly. And that awareness is super important to becoming what Jung called individuated. That's the process of becoming your true and authentic self.
Okay, I'm starting to see how it all fits together. We learn about our shadow through things like shadow work and by noticing our projections. But the video says acknowledging the shadow isn't enough. We need to actually integrate it. What does that look like in real life?
Integrating the shadow isn't about getting rid of those so-called negative traits. It's about learning to work with them, to find a way to channel that energy in a good way.
So you mean, like, instead of trying to hide those parts of ourselves,
Yeah.
we learn to understand them and use them. Can you give me an example? How would you apply that to something like anger?
Okay. Imagine you have a friend who always cancels plans at the last minute. So instead of letting that anger build up or explode, in a bad way, you could use that energy to talk to your friend about how their actions make you feel. You're setting boundaries and standing up for yourself. And that can actually make the friendship stronger.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're basically saying that it's about turning that shadow energy into something good, something that helps you. But the video says it's not enough to just know ourselves. We have to actually do something with that knowledge.
You got it. Jung believed that you don't find meaning just by thinking about things. You find it by doing. The video says it perfectly. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do.
It's a good point, especially for young people who are still figuring things out. It's easy to get caught up in dreams and plans, but actually taking those steps towards your goals, that's how you grow.
Exactly. And taking those first steps can be scary. The video talks about asking yourself big questions like, what do you believe in? What's important to you? How do you want to make a difference in the world? Those answers can help you overcome fear and take action.
So it's like changing from a passive mindset to an active one. It's about making the life you want instead of just reacting to things. But that can feel overwhelming, right? Where do you even start?
Well, the video gives some examples, like maybe pursuing something you're passionate about, whether it's writing a book, starting a business, or fighting for a cause you care about. It's about turning your dreams into steps you can actually take.
But what about that fear you feel when you try something big and new? I've definitely felt that. What did Jung have to say about fear?
Jung actually believed that fear often shows you the right path. He said, where your fear is, there is your task. So instead of running away from your fears, he said we should see them as chances to grow.
Wow, that's a cool way to think about it. So you're saying fear doesn't necessarily mean we're doing the wrong thing. It could actually mean we're on the right track. But how do you deal with fear? The video mentions preparing yourself.
Right, preparing for challenges can help with some of the anxiety, but you also have to work on being resilient. You have to understand that fear is normal,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to stop you from doing things.
So we acknowledge the fear, prepare as best we can, and then just go for it.
Exactly. And the video reminds us that even if you succeed, that's not the only thing that makes something meaningful. It's about the process, pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, learning and adapting.
I see what you mean. It's not always about reaching that goal. It's about who you become along the way. The resilience you build, the lessons you learn, and understanding yourself better.
Exactly. And that leads to another interesting idea from the video, the idea that facing challenges, even setbacks and failures, is actually really important to finding meaning.
That doesn't seem obvious. Usually we try to avoid negative experiences, right?
Yeah.
But you're saying the video thinks that a life without challenges wouldn't help us grow or appreciate the good things as much.
That's right. Think about it. What if everything was easy? If you never had any problems or disappointments, would you be as happy or fulfilled if you never had to work for it or overcome anything?
You have a point. It's like the tough times make the good times feel even better.
The video uses the example of someone who's trying to get their novel published. And it gets rejected. It's definitely disappointing. But maybe that rejection helps them look at their work differently. Maybe they improve their writing and end up being a better writer because of it.
So those challenges become part of their story,
Yeah.
part of what makes them unique.
And the video emphasizes that it's not just about personal setbacks. Even people who seem like they have it all figured out, like successful entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders, they've probably all faced huge challenges and failures.
So it's not about avoiding the bad stuff. It's about how we choose to deal with it. It's about being strong and resilient so we can bounce back and keep going.
That's it. And the video reminds us that this whole journey of finding meaning never really ends. It's about constantly thinking about things, taking action, and learning along the way.
It's a never-ending cycle of growth and self-discovery. That's a really important takeaway from this deep dive.
I agree. What I love about Jung's ideas is that they make us feel in control of our lives. They remind us that we can create meaning, even when things are hard or uncertain.
This whole conversation has really changed how I think about living a meaningful life.
It's a big question, and Jung gives us a way to think about it that goes beyond just being successful. It's about looking inside yourself, being self-aware, and doing things that match your values.
And it's about seeing those challenges and setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow. I love how the video reminds us that the darkness is just as important as the light in shaping who we are.
It's a powerful message. We don't have to wait for something outside of ourselves to give us meaning. It's already there inside each of us, just waiting to be found and nurtured.
It reminds me of that quote by Jung. The sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light of meaning in the darkness of mere being. We all have that power within us.
Exactly. It's about understanding those hidden parts of ourselves, making them part of who we are, and then taking action in the world based on that deeper understanding.
I don't know about you, but I feel like I have a whole new way of thinking about purpose after this deep dive.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey, and Jung's ideas give us a good map to follow.
And the best part is it's something everyone can use, whether you're in high school trying to figure out what's next, or you're already working and just looking for something more meaningful. These ideas can help anyone.
I think that's what makes this deep dive format so great. We can talk about complicated ideas and then find ways to actually use them in our lives.
For everyone listening out there, especially the young people, I really encourage you to think about what we've talked about today.
Yeah, think about your own shadow, those parts of yourself you might be hiding from. How can you start to accept them and make them part of who you are? What can you do today to start living a more meaningful life?
And remember, you don't have to have everything figured out right now. It's all about exploring and discovering. Let yourself try new things, take risks, and learn from your mistakes.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. Find mentors, friends, and family who can support you. And remember, you're not alone in this search for meaning. We're all in this together.
If you're looking for more help on your journey, you can find more information on our website. It's www.ultimatemasters.org, coaching. Or you can send us a WhatsApp message at +256 7713 2119.
We have personalized coaching programs that can help you figure out your strengths, values, and passions so you can create a life that really fits who you are.
And for anyone who enjoys deep dives like this one, make sure you subscribe and follow Becoming Ultimate Masters. We'll keep exploring these important topics together.
We release new episodes every single day, so there's always something new to learn. And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with others, your friends, family, anyone who you think might benefit from it.
We believe that everyone deserves to live a life with purpose and meaning, and we hope these conversations can inspire you and give you the power to create that life for yourself.
So keep exploring, keep growing, and keep shining your light.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time on Becoming Ultimate Masters.